Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back for this tutorial. Today we'll be learning how to make this sweater using the knit stitch or brioche stitch. You'll also be able to learn how to make the flower as a bonus. The size that I made is size large. You also learn how to take your measurements and adjust it accordingly. In these clips, I am showing you how the final project will look like when you put it on. So this is me showing you how it looks like. I take pride in letting you know that when you finish with every tutorial here, your project looks like that. And as usual, if you're new here or a returning viewer and haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly please don't leave without subscribing. Let's post this channel to over 1K. I'm already excited to be here on YouTube to show you tutorials back to back, and I would appreciate that you are going to be there with me and we run this race together. Without wasting any time, let's begin with our tutorial. In today's tutorial, these are the yarn that we are going to use. I'm mainly going to use the white yarn. It looks like white of white. This is the actual yarn that I'll use, and then these two will come at a later stage when the white is too much for me, and we will know until the stage where I can again switch yarn. I'll be using a medium weight yarn. You can use any yarn of your choice, but for this tutorial we will use a medium weight yarn. You need a tape measure to get the measurement of this sweater, scissor, a 4.5mm hook, and a needle. So I'm going to put this yarn aside and we start on this tutorial. I've already made a chain. For you to get your measurements, place a tape measure on your shoulder and get the measurement of your back shoulder. I'll be making a fitting sweater. My shoulder length is 19 inches wide. So we will be making a back panel that is 19 inches wide, and for the length of this sweater, put a tape measure on your shoulder up to under your belly button, and let's begin. So as earlier mentioned, I already made my chain. I've chained 81 here. So you're going to make one more chain, which is going to be a returning stitch. We will also be crocheting the ribbing and the body of this sweater all at once. So go in the second stitch, pull up a loop and slip stitch. Okay, make 10 slip stitches, 2, 3, make 7 more slip stitches. I'll meet you when I'm done making the 7 slip stitches. I'm done making my 10 slip stitches. So this is our ribbing. For the body, you're going to wrap your yarn on your hook like that and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, but you have to slip stitch through all, okay, like that. All right, like that. Is that okay? This is like half double crochet slip stitch, which is also brioche stitch, whichever you call it. Okay, so we will slip stitch this up to the end of this chain. All right, at the end of this chain, you should ensure that you have 81 number of stitches, 10 for the slip stitches, and then 71 for this brioche stitch. I'll meet you when we will be going for row 2. I'm at the end of my row. So you need stitch markers so that you do not forget where your ribbing starts and ends. So count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and put a stitch marker here. For row 2, this is a repeat pattern, so chain 1, turn your work. You have like 3 stitches here, okay? You have these 2, and then you've got this 1. So we are going to slip stitch in the back loop of the 3rd one, all right? Not this nor this, but in the back loop of the 3rd one. So after chaining 1, wrap your yarn on your hook, go in the back loop there, pull up a loop and slip stitch. Go in the 2nd stitch, which is still the back loop, and slip stitch. All right, you repeat this for 71 times, like that. Okay, so by slip stitching in the back loop, you get to have this formation here, which looks like a knitted pattern. So ensure that you are not slip stitching anywhere but only in the back loop. When you reach at the point where we have placed our stitch marker, I will show you again how to slip stitch to the end of this row. After that, I will leave you to continue crocheting up to the desired size. Mine is going to be 19 inches because I want a fitting sweater. Catch you until when I am at the point where I put a stitch marker. I'm at the point where we have the stitch marker, so I'm going to remove it out and continue with my 10 slip stitches. Okay, so this is basically what you will do. You'll repeat this pattern for that desired length. Mine is going to be 19 inch, of course. And when you're done, we'll come again back here and start on the front panel. This is going to be a fitting cardigan, but if you want yours to be a bigger size, you might have to add an inch or 2 to the actual measurement. I wear size large to XL and do wear medium size too. So what I'm making is size large, but a medium weight person can wear this. Chain 1 for row 3. Repeat the same pattern by making your 10 slip stitches up to this point. If you are not so sure where the 10 stitches, continue putting in there your stitch markers because you do not want to forget where the row starts and end. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, like that. And then when you start on the brioche stitch, ensure that you're only slip stitching in the back loop. So there are 3 stitches here. I'm going to repeat this again. There are 3 stitches here. 1 stitch loop, something like that. 1, 2, and 3. So what you do, you only slip stitch in the 3rd loop, which you're seeing there, in the 3rd loop. Okay, ignore the first 2, which is this one. Okay, but slip stitch only in the 3rd one. I'm going to repeat this for 19 inches and meet you right back here when I'm done. I'm in my last stitch, so this is it, and I am done making my back panel. This is how my back panel looks like, and this is how my ribbing also looks like. Okay, it's like a uniform pattern, but you can clearly see the difference as you work on the go. Okay, so I'm going to measure this. I want a back panel of 19 inches. This is 9.5. and that gives me 19, which is not bad. And for the front panel, you will divide this into 2 and follow the exact pattern. I already made one part of the front panel, okay? So go ahead and make the second part of this front panel. When I'm done making the second part, I'll come here and show you how to proceed to the next stage in this tutorial. I am also still exhausting the white yarn, which means if I'm to include this or this other yarn, it might come at a later stage, okay? This is entirely practical, and I am just brainstorming and being creative as I crochet. So catch you. I'm done making my second part of the front panel. Somewhere here I joined the yarn, and I like to weave in my ends as I go. That's why it looks like this, but I will try and make it uniform later. So you get your sides together. I have my thread in the needle there. So get your sides together. We are going to join these parts. To complete this part, you can do this like that. Let's first put this aside and then organize. So we are going to stitch these front panels. Just figure out which side you want to be in or out. Is entirely uniform. You can wear this inside out, okay? So I will arrange this and we figure out which part to stitch inside out, okay? Like that. So we are going to attach this to this side. Another alternative is you can put it like this. I hope this is fitting on my camera. Whichever side that you have decided. Like this. And like that. So we are going to use a needle to join this side. After that, we start working on our sleeves. My sleeves are going to be puffy. I'm a puffy girl and I love puffy sleeves. So catchy. I'd like to stress that you can use slip stitches to join these sides, but I will use a needle to join my sides, okay? So when you're joining, whether you use a slip stitch or a needle like me, as long as you get to join these sides correctly, you are good to go, okay? Like that. So I normally prefer the needle. It's very slow but worth it for me. And sometimes when the thread is very long, it entangles, but at the end I get to stitch my sides together and it's a win-win. And while you're here and enjoying this tutorial, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's build this community together. It's already fun being here, creating tutorials here and there. So it would be nice to have you as a member. Let's push this channel to over 1K and let's have fun. Engage with this tutorial. Leave me comments, leave me suggestions. I made a similar sweater like this using this pattern. I've also stitched it in the description box below. So I'm going to continue joining this side up to here, and this other side we meet again when I'm done. So what we are going to do, we will be crocheting a sleeve which is like 18 inches wide, okay, because we have 9 inches here, so you need to multiply that 9 by 2 to give you the 18 inches. And meanwhile, I'm making a sleeve which is going to stop somewhere here, and then from here up to the cuff is all another pattern of slip stitches. So you are going to take a measurement from your shoulder to this point. Mine is around 11 inches. So when I place a tape measure on my arms up to this, it gives me 11 inches. So what I'll do, I'll make a chain that is 11 inches long. Okay, I do not know exactly how many number of chains those are going to be, but as usual, I will crochet more chains and then work this pattern. We will be repeating this exact same pattern for 11 inches and then proceed to make rows of this, which will measure up to 18 inches. The 18 inches is going to be the measurement which we will be folding in these sleeves that I have measured here. Okay, so catch you when I'm done making my first part of the sleeve. So I'm done crocheting. I have 18 inches here. 18 divided by 2 is 9 inches, and the 9 inches are the measurements for the sleeves from here to this other side. Okay, meanwhile the length of this sleeve is 11 inches long. I made a chain that was very long enough to fit 11 inches, and I have 49 number of stitches here. When you take a measurement of this, it gives you your 11 inches that you need. Okay, just roughly 10 something to 11, which is not bad. And when you fold this together like this, you get your 9 inches. Okay, $18 inches, and when you fold, that is 9. So let's gather this so that we can start working on our ribbing, which will extend up to the cuff here. So chain 1, we will gather this. When you gather this, you want something when you whereby if you slip it in your arms, it is not too tight. Okay, so we will reduce this. This is how I'm going to do it. I will insert my hook here, pull up a loop 1, twice, and then thrice, like that. Okay, and then 1, 2, again 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You're just trying to gather this around so that you can work on the ribbing. So if you want to pull the reduction 3 times, it's your choice. 2 times also fine, because at the end you are able to tell that this is going to be too tight or too big. Okay, and remember, we will be working with slip stitches, and slip stitching kind of shrinks, so I advise you to keep placing this somewhere here in your wrist and ensure that it is not too tight. I'll go ahead and join this up to this point, and we meet when I am in this point here. I'm at the end here, so this works for me. When I fold like this and obviously do slip stitches round, it is going to shrink in a way that it won't be too tight for me. So when you're done in this last corner here, grab the other side and join it using a slip stitch like that. Okay, so now we will be slip stitching round here. What you're going to do, this is the imagination of the sleeve which I am trying to picture here. I hope you can see my arm. This is what I'm trying to do here. So we will make a chain from here up to somewhere here. So for us to start working on the ribbing, you're going to chain, when I figure this, I'm going to chain around 40. That's going to be enough. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me first chain 40 and see how long that is before I can continue. I've chained 40. This seems to be enough. This is really entirely practical, and it's also my first attempt as we work on this pattern. So we will figure it on the go. And I place this here like this. Yeah, this can work. So what we'll do, we will slip stitch from here up to this part. The 40 chains are enough. Slip stitching has a tendency of shrinking too. So go in the second chain, make a slip stitch like that. Slip stitch up to the end of this chain. At the end of this chain, you will have 39 number of slip stitches. I'm going to continue slip stitching up to the end and then meet you to join it for us to start row 2. I've slip stitched up to the end. I have 39 slip stitches here. So I'm going to join it in this space and this other one. Chain 1, turn my work, skip those 2 stitches, go in the 3rd stitch and slip stitch. Proceed to slip stitch up to the end. At the end of row 2, you should still maintain 39 number of stitches. Start row 3, slip stitch up to the last stitch. I'll meet you when we'll be joining to start row 4. Catch you. I'm at the end of row 3. To start row 4, slip stitch in here once, chain 1, and then start row 5 like that. When you complete row 5, start row 6. When you're at the end of row 6, to start row 7, you again slip stitch once. If you realize that slip stitching once makes it too big, you will have to slip stitch in twice. But I will proceed with this pattern by slip stitching once, and then we meet when I'm at the end of my row here for us to join this sleeve to this other side. I should also note to you that slip stitching has a tendency of shrinking, so be very skeptical as you work on this ribbon. I'm back from slip stitching round. At some point I ran out of yarn and had to improvise. There's this shade here which is more whiter than the actual color of the sweater, but it's okay, it's just only in this part. Now let's join this sleeve together. So we will be slip stitching. I won't be using a needle to join. So you chain 1, turn your work, go in this stitch, the very first one, that one, and slip stitch. So go in the back loop, of this other side, and then pick this other stitch and slip stitch. You should only pick the back loop plus this other stitch on the other side and slip stitch. We will slip stitch this up to the end of this sleeve like that. So I'm going to continue to slip stitch up to this point and also meet you again for us to start slip stitching on this other side. Only pick the back loop of this side plus a stitch from there. Ensure that you are not missing any. There are 39 number of stitches here, so at the end of the slip stitching you should have 39 slip stitches. I'll meet you when we will be proceeding to this other side. I have completed to slip stitch. This is how it looks like, and this slips through my arm like that. It's not really that tight, it's just the way I want it. So we should proceed to join this other side. I have 39 number of slip stitches here. Let's proceed to the other side. For the other side, you're going to pick this, insert your hook in here. It's a little bit tight. There, and then here, and then this other side, and slip stitch. You're connecting to the other side, so yeah, and you set your hook in there and come here, slip stitch. So this is what you will do. We have 1, 2 and 3. Okay, 1, 2 and 3. We will be slip stitching in the second one, which is the one in the middle. Okay, so this is how you should do it. Insert your hook in here, and then insert your hook in here, and slip stitch like that. All right, slip stitch. This is how it's going to be. You can also use a needle to join this. It's entirely your choice. All right, I will continue with this up to the end of this sleeve, and we meet right back here when I'm done like that, like that. Like that. All right, so this is how the slip stitch is going to look like. Meanwhile, on this other side, it's going to blend itself in with the rest of the pattern. I will continue with this up to the end of this sleeve and meet you right back here when I'm done. So this is how it has blended in. All right, if you wish this to be the side which you want to wear outside, fine by you. If you also want to consider flipping this side in, there's no problem. So I prefer it to be inside. I'm going to flip it right like that. These loose ends, I'll hide them later, and this is how it looks like from inside for me. All right, like that. Like this might look small, but it really fits in my arm. This is just the perfect size for me. I proceeded to make the other side of the sleeve. We are now going to attach it onto our sweater. So get your sweater like this. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed to mark the middle part. Okay, this is where I ended with my slip stitching, like that. Okay, let me find a way of fitting this on my screen and get back to you people. I level best to fit this on the screen, and this is how you should place your sleeves side by side the sweater, and you can see where the stitch marker is. Ensure that it's the right measurement. If it's not the right measurement, then adjust it accordingly. At this point, you're far gone in this tutorial. So what we will do, we are going to join this sleeve onto our sweater. I could have used a needle, but I'm not going to use a needle. I prefer to slip stitch. Start joining. We are going to flip the good side inside and slip stitch using the bad side. So I'm going to flip this like that, like that, and then this was my good side, the one which I want to wear outside, and I will still go ahead and flip the bad side outside, like that. Then I'll go ahead and attach this here. Remove the stitch marker. Ensure that you've placed it against the sweater properly. Now let's go ahead and slip stitch by inserting your hook in here. Like that. You can use a needle, it's entirely your choice. Today I want to use slip stitches for attaching. When I'm done joining, I'll flip it right back and then proceed to also attach the other side. Like, you can use your needle to attach the two sides together. It's your choice, but this is how it looks like from the other side. Let's proceed to slip stitch this all round and also get to this other side and slip stitch all round, and we make right back here when we are done. I have completed to attach my sleeves to this sweater, and this is how it looks like. This is the bad side, okay? This is the side that I'm going to wear inside, and also this is the other side of the sleeve. So you can flip your work, turn it inside out. I was also able to work on some of the loose ends. The others I'll complete later. So this is how the work looks from outside. This is the side that I wear outside, and at this point your sweater is already taking shape. Now let's work on the ribbing here, where we will attach our buttons. Attaching the button is going to be optional. You can do that ribbing minus having to attach a button for it. Okay, now let's work on the ribbing. Now we are going to start working on the ribbing. I ran out of the actual color of this yarn. Most of this yarn was my stash yarn, and there is also this other optional which is more whiter than what I have here, but I'm just going to work with it. The sweater is mine. So we are going to start putting double crochet all round. So I'm going to attach my yarn here. This is the good side, okay? I'm going to attach my yarn by inserting my hook in this first stitch to secure the yarn, like that, and chain one, secure the yarn, and then chain two more, All right, so let's make double crochet in every stitch which you see here. We will do this all around. Like that. So for this first row of the ribbing, you will make a double crochet, and then after that we'll be working with front loop and back loops. We will be able to make at least 3 to 4 rows of this before we can complete with the ribbing. All right, so I'm going to continue making double crochet all round, and I'll meet you right back when I'm here for us to start row 2 of the ribbing. Catch you. I have completed to make my double crochet all round, and this is how it looks like. So let's go to row 2. For row 2, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, put double crochet in this first stitch, then wrap your yarn on your hook, go right behind this second stitch and make a back post double crochet. For the next one, make a front post double crochet by going right under this third stitch and pulling up a loop, chain through 2, pull through 2, and then a back post double crochet, front post double crochet, okay, a back post double crochet, front post double crochet. So this is how we shall alternate this row, okay? We're going in the back post by inserting your hook like this through the side and pulling up a loop, pull through 2, pull through all, and for the front post you go right under the next stitch like this, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through all. We shall repeat this all round. I'm going to meet you again when we will start row 3 of this, and this is how your work should be looking like so far and even from behind. Catch you when I'm done with row 2. I'm left with 1 stitch to complete row 2, so you are going to end row 2 with a normal double crochet by inserting your hook on the third chain that you made at the beginning of row 1, like that. We started row 2 with a double crochet, which is here, and we have ended with a double crochet. You will start every new row with a double crochet and also end with a double crochet. So for row 3, you're going to chain 1 and then place a double crochet on this first stitch like that. So now we have in row 3, instead of a front post which was in row 2, it's now a back post. So you are going to go right under it like that and make a back post double crochet, and then front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet. All right, what was a front post in row 2 will turn out to be a back post in row 3, okay? And what was a back post in row 2 will in turn be a front post in row 3. Don't forget that. So we will proceed with this for 2 more rows. I'm going to work on row 3 and row 4, which will be my last, and we meet right back here when I'm done making my 4 rows. This is already row 3. After here, I will proceed to row 4. You need to note that you start the row with a double crochet and end with a double crochet. And this is how your work should look like. This is from inside, and then this is how it looks like from outside. Catch you when I'm done making my 4 rows. I am at the end of my 4th row, and this is where I will stop. This ribbing is enough for me, but if you want to continue, you can add 2 or 3 more rows for yourself. There's really no problem with that. So let's cut out this yarn. Chain 1, pull up a loop, get your scissor, and cut out the yarn like that. So here you are, you have your sweater. It has taken shape, and wow, this is so beautiful. Now if you want to include button, it's your choice. I'm going to add a button. I'll attach one here, I'll attach one down here, and then another one here, which I'm going to do off camera. Let's get on to the next part in this tutorial, because this sweater is too white for my liking. Let's add some flowers onto it. Now for the flower, these are the yarn that we will use. At the beginning of this tutorial, I did note that at some point I might have to add something to this whiteness just to let it pop. So we are going to make a flower using the color yellow and orange. Okay, let's start with a magic ring. This is how I make my magic ring, like that. And I insert my hook inside the ring, pull up a loop and chain 1, tighten it like that. So let's proceed to make 12 single crochets in this magic ring. I'm going to make 12 single crochets and meet you right back here when I'm done. This is 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll make 7 more single crochets and meet you right back here when I'm done. I'm done making 12 single crochets. So let's close this ring by pulling the tail of this yarn to close the ring like that, like that, and then go right on top of the first stitch which you made at the beginning and slip stitch. Pull out your yarn, get your scissor and cut it out like that. So for the next part, we are going to switch to the orange yarn. I'll be weaving my ends as I go. So attach your hook anywhere. I'm going to attach mine in here, and then make a chain. Proceed to make 3 more chains. 1, 2, 3. At the end you should have 4 number of chains. So we are going to make a flower. Instead of a treble crochet, I decided to make it another way. So wrap your yarn on your hook twice. You will have 3 loops on your hook. Go in the next stitch like that. Pull out your yarn. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Go through this single one, pull through this one loop. Okay, you will still have 4 loops on your hook. Pull through 2. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Pull through 2. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. Pull through all. Let's make 2 more in the same stitch like that. Pull up a loop. Instead of going through 2, you go through 1. Go through 1 and then go through 2. Go through 2 again. Go through all. One more time in the same space. Instead of going through 2, you go through 1 and then go through 2. Go through 2 again. go through all. All right, chain 4, 1 2 3 4, go in the next stitch, insert your hook in there, make a slip stitch like that, chain 4, 1 2 3 4, repeat what we did earlier. All right, go in the next stitch, pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 2 again, pull through all. Let's repeat that 2 more times. Pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 2 again, pull through all. One last time. Pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 2 again, pull through all, chain 4, 1 2 3 4, go in the next stitch and slip stitch like that. So you are going to repeat this all around. Okay, at the end of this row you should have 6 petals. I'll meet you when I'm done making all the 6. I'm at the end. Okay, so in the end here, when you are done slip stitching, chain 1, pull out your yarn like that and cut it out like that. So this is how your flower looks like. Okay, I was weaving my ends as I crocheted, so I'm going to get my thread, cut this out. Wow, oh my god, what did I just do? And we all know how to fix this. I definitely know how to fix this. And then get your thread, hide this like that. Like that. Okay, this is how your flower should look like. Proceed to make 10 more of this. All right, when you're done making 10 of this, I'm going to show you how to attach this onto our sweater. Okay, catch you. Now this is going to be the construction of the flowers on this sweater. I have fit my sweater in the screen, although this other side is not appearing. I bet that this one will just work so fine. So this is how you place your flowers. You will place one here, okay, one here, and one there. Okay, this other one will go under there. Same for this side, this side, this side, this, and then this will go right under there. This is how our flower will look on this sweater. I thought of adding more flowers on the sleeve, but it was going to look too much, so this is just enough. In that, when I attach this, I am hoping that it ends up being something like that. Okay, so I'll show you how to attach one, and then we'll attach the rest off camera before we can convene right back here to wrap up our tutorial. So I went ahead and attached the flowers onto the sweater because I realized that it's really a very slow work, and this is how it looks like. And even from this other side, if you can see it. So let me show you how to attach the last one. Okay, it's there. Place it where you want it to be. Get your needle and pass it in here like that. Okay, and then carefully like that. Like that. Okay, you want it looking like this. You're not sewing it all down, okay? You want it looking like this. So that is what we will do. Instead of attaching it from here, we will do it somewhere in the middle here, so that we are able to have the flowers looking like this. Okay, so now that I'm done with the first one, I'm going to go right under here and just find where the needle can pass through like that. Like that. Okay, as you join this, you're able to see your handiwork. Yeah, you're able to see how the whole thing is coming up. Okay, I'm also sewing it in a way that I don't want the thread that I'm sewing with appearing, like making it look obvious that this was. So as I'm sewing, I'm making sure that it is tidy enough. All right, so one petal down onto the second one like that. Yeah, like that. Like that. Okay, are you seeing that? So I will do this all around and meet you right back here when I'm done. I have finished to attach my last piece of flower. So this is how the attachment looks like from inside. What you're going to do, you are going to hide out this loose end. Okay, like that. Like that. And cut it out. Like that, and cut it out. Okay, so this is how our final sweater looks like. With this, we have come to the end of this tutorial. As usual, I appreciate all of you being here. Catch you again in my next tutorial. When you make this sweater, tag me on your videos or photos. Just let me know how it turned out for you. Bye.